Shalom, and welcome back to day 63 of reading the Bible in 52 weeks. Woo! Dear God, I trust in you. Make your ways known to me, Lord, and teach me your paths. Amen. Let's go. And today we'll be reading Joshua 16 through 18. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph went from the Jordan at Jericho at the waters of Jericho on the east, to the wilderness ascending from Jericho in the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel it went to Luz and proceeded to the border of the Archachites to Adaroth. It then descended westward to the border of the Japhilites as far as the border of Lower Beth Horon, then to Jezar, and ended in the Mediterranean Sea. So Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans. The border of their inheritance went from Adaroth Ada to the east and upper Beth Horon, and the north. The border went westward from the Michmethath. It turned eastward from Tananath Shelah and passed it east of Jenanah. From Jenanah it descended at Adaroth and Naarah, and then reached Jericho and went to the Jordan. From Tappelah the border went westward along the brook of the Canaan and ended in the Mediterranean Sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans, together with the cities set apart for the descendants of Ephraim, with inheritance of the descendants of Manasseh, all these cities with their settlements. However, they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites still live in Ephraim today, but they are forced laborers. This was the limit for the tribe of Manasseh. At Joseph's firstborn, Gilead and Bashan, were given to Mashur, the firstborn of Manasseh and the father of Gilead, because he was the man of war. So the allotment was for the rest of Manasseh's descendants by their clans, for the sons of Abiezer, Halak, Azarel, Shechem, Hefer, and Shemidah. These are the male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, by their clans. Now Zelophehad, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Mashur, son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters. These are the names of his daughters: Maaha, Noah, Hagiah, Micah, and Tisra. They came before the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the leader, saying, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our male relatives." So they gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers in keeping with the Lord's instruction. As a result, 10 tracts fell to Manasseh beside the land of Gilead and Bashan, which are beyond the Jordan, because Manasseh's daughters received an inheritance among his sons. The land of Gilead belonged to the rest of Manasseh's sons. The border of Manasseh went from Asher to Mishmethath near Shechem. It then went southward toward the inhabitants of its and Tappuah. The region of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah itself on Manasseh's border belonged to the descendants of Ephraim. From there, the border descended to the brook of Canaan. South of the brook, cities belonged to Ephraim among Manasseh's cities. Manasseh's border was on the north side of the brook and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. Ephraim's territory was the south of Manasseh's to the north, with the sea it bordered. They reached Asher on the north of Issachar of the east. Within Issachar, the Asher and Masada had Bethshan, Eblim, and the inhabitants of Dor from their surrounding villages, the inhabitants of Endor, Takana, and Megiddo, the 3 cities of Naphtali with their surrounding villages. The descendants of Manasseh could not possess these cities because the Canaanites were determined to stay in this land. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they imposed forced labor of the Canaanites, but did not drive them out completely. Joseph's descendants said to Joshua, "Why did you give us only the tribal allotment as an inheritance? We have many people because the Lord has been blessing us greatly." "If you have so many people," Joshua replied to them, "go to the forest and clear an area of yourselves there in the land of the Pezerites and the Rephaim, because Ephraim's hill country is too small for you." But the descendants of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us. All the Canaanites who inhabit the valley area have iron chariots, both of Beth-Shean with our surrounding villages in the Jezreel Valley." So Joshua replied to Joseph's family, that is Ephraim and Manasseh, "You have many people and great strength. You will not have just one allotment, because the hill country will be yours also. It is a forest, clear it. and its outlying areas will be yours. You can also drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots and are strong. The entire Israelite community assembled at Shalom and set up the tent of the meeting there. The land had been subdued before them, but 7 tribes among the Israelites were left who had not divided up their inheritance. So Joshua asked the Israelites, "How long will you delay going out to take possession of the land that the Lord of God your ancestors gave you? Appoint for yourselves 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them out. They are to go and survey the land, write a description of it, the purpose of their inheritance, and return it to me. Then they are divided into 7 portions. Judah is to remain in its territory in the south, and Joseph's family in the territory of the north. When you have written a description of the 7 portions of land and brought it to me, I will cast lots for you there in the presence of the Lord your God. For the Levites among you do not get a portion, because their inheritance is the priesthood of the Lord. Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh have taken their inheritance beyond the Jordan to the east, which Moses the Lord's servant gave them." As the men prepared to go, Joshua commanded them to write down a description of the land, saying, "Go and survey the land, write a description of it, and return it to me. I will then cast lots for you here in Shalom in the presence of the Lord." So the men left, went through the land, and described it by towns in the document of 7 sections. They returned to Joshua at the camp of Shalom. Joshua cast lots for them at Shalom in the presence of the Lord, where he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their divisions. The lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin's descendants by their clans, and their allotted territory lay between Judah's descendants and Joseph's descendants. Their brother on the north side began at the Jordan, ascended to the slope of Jericho on the north, through the hill country westward, and ended at the wilderness around Beth Aven. From there, the border went toward Luz, to the southern slope of Luz, that is Bethel. It then went to the Adaroth Adar over the hill south of Lower Beth Horon. On the west side, from the hill facing Beth Horon on the south, the border curved, turning southward, and ended at Kiriath-baal, a city of the descendants of Judah. This was the west side of their border. The south side began at the edge of Kiriath-jearim, and the border extended westward. It went to the spring at the waters of Nephtah. The border descended to the foot of the hill that faces Baal-Hinnom Valley at the northern end of Rephaim Valley. It ran down Hinnom Valley toward the south Jebusite slope and downward the En Rogel. It curved northward and went in Shemesh on the Gilead, which is opposite the ascent of Adiamim, and continued down to the stone of Baal, son of Reuben. Then it went north to the slope opposite of the Arabah and proceeded into its plains. The border continued to the north slope of Beth Haglah and ended at the northern bay of the Dead Sea, at the southern end of the Jordan. This was the southern border. The Jordan formed the border on the east side. This was the inheritance of Benjamin's descendants by their clans according to his surrounding borders. These were the cities of the tribe of Benjamin's descendants by their clans: Jericho, Beth Haglah, Emek Kezet, Beth Arabah, Zemarim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Shephra, Amani, Opani, and Geba. 12 cities with their settlements: Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpah, Shepherah, Mozrah, Rekem, Irpil, Taralah, Zelah, Haliphath, Jebeel, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath. 14 cities with their settlements. This was the inheritance for Benjamin's descendants by their clans. Okay, guys, I will see y'all tomorrow for day 64. May you have a blessed day.